Within hours of capturing Herat, the terror group's fighters were out patrolling streets trying to convince residents of Afghanistan's third-largest city that life would soon return normal.
Business will continue as normal, and people are happy with us. And with our services, they will be happier.
Hamid has serious doubts about those claims.
Right now, we fear elimination. The Taliban are going to eliminate the Christian population of Afghanistan.
Hamid, not his real name, is among thousands of Afghans who've come to faith in Jesus Christ over the past 2 decades. We've concealed his identity for safety.
There weren't a lot of Christians 20 years ago during the Taliban time. But today, we are talking about 5,000 to 8,000 local Christians, and they live all over Afghanistan.
In an exclusive interview from an undisclosed location, Hamid told CBN News he's very concerned about the future of Afghanistan's tiny Christian community.
We know a Christian believer who we've been working with in the north. He's a leader, and we've lost contact with him because his city has fallen to the Taliban. There are 3 other cities that we have lost contact with our Christian believers.
According to Open Doors, Afghanistan is the second most dangerous place to be a Christian in the world, just behind North Korea. The majority of the Christians here converted from Islam.
Some of the believers are known in their communities. People know that they converted from Islam to Christianity, and they are considered apostates, and the penalty for that is death. The Taliban are famous for carrying out that punishment.
Taliban fighters are reportedly now going door to door, forcing families to give up their daughters, some as young as 12, to be sex slaves for their men.
I have 4 sisters that are single. They are at home, and they are worried about this.
David, a foreign national, has worked in Afghanistan for the past 3 decades. We've taken similar precautions to protect his identity. He saw the Taliban's brutality up close while living in Kabul during its last reign. Now comes fear of a return to the days of regular executions, flogging, stoning to death, and hand-chopping.
They have a strict interpretation of Islamic law, not only from the Quran, but also from what they call hadiths, which are traditions, sayings, and practical applications of Islamic law. They take these literally.
And despite these threats, folks, David says there's a hunger among Afghans like never before to know God in an intimate way. Guys?
George, thank you for bringing us this story, as disturbing as it is. Now, you've been in regular contact with your Afghan sources since the Taliban takeover. What is it you're hearing from Christians inside the country now?
Yeah, let me paint a picture for you guys. The Christian men today, all across the country, are growing out their beards. Families, girls that have not been married. For example, Hamid, as I mentioned in the piece, Hamid's sisters are between the ages of 16 and 21. They are not going outside. They're all single. There's unfolding right now a complete wiping of digital evidence on their phones. For example, many Afghan believers had apps that had Bible apps, and so Christian songs, Christian movies, Christian literature. In one case, I know a family in Kabul that is burning Christian literature and all other religious materials that could potentially get them into trouble. These are very, very precarious times, not just for the Christians of Afghanistan, but the entire country as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, George, if our viewers want to help in any way, how can they get involved?
There are a number of various groups, private organizations that are getting involved. They're trying to get planes to the Hamid Karzai International Airport, private planes. Obviously, the United States is bogged down trying to get about 15,000 of our American citizens, as well as the tens of thousands of Afghans who worked for the United States and other coalition forces. But private enterprises are working on the ground right now. The big challenge is trying to get through these various security checkpoints that are manned right now by the Taliban. It's very, very difficult. So my encouragement to our viewers right now is we need to pray, continue to pray. But I think in the days, the weeks and months ahead, there will be opportunities once things hopefully calm down at the airport and people have been evacuated. Those that are still trapped in the country, there will be opportunities either through civilian aircraft or private enterprises, private groups that are working in the country and outside of the country in the bordering areas of Afghanistan that will have the opportunity to get people outside of get Afghans out of the country.
Yeah, well, that's good to know. Well, how can we pray for our brothers and sisters in Afghanistan? Obviously, we believe in the power of prayer. So how can we, what are the specific prayer points?
Absolutely. In fact, I was on the phone just earlier this week with an Afghan believer. Some of my sources are telling me, I've been asking them this very same question. How can we pray? First, obviously, we need to pray for protection for these folks. Just imagine for a moment if you were an Afghan believer living on a street in Kabul, and for the last 20 years, you had a passion to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with your fellow Muslim believers. Remember, these are believers who converted from Islam to Christianity. And for the last 20 years, they've been going perhaps house to house, sharing the gospel, friendship, evangelism. And the big concern right now is that these neighbors could potentially turn against them and tell the Taliban, hey, do you know that there is a believer here? There's a person who converted from Islam to Christianity. That's a big concern. So pray for protection. Then pray for provision. Imagine you've got thousands of Afghan Christians who are on the run. They don't have passports, can't get out of the country. They've left their homes. They're heading for the hills of Afghanistan. So pray for provision. And then for those who have decided to leave, pray for a safe exit out of the country. But then also pray for those who have said, you know what, we are going to stay. We're going to stay and endure. And the folks that I've spoken to have said, George, pray for the boldness of Jesus Christ, the courage to share the gospel of Jesus Christ in the midst of these challenges.
Absolutely. Well, George, thank you so much, as always, for your insight, and thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome, guys.
All right. Well, you can get all of the latest news and more when you download the CBN News Channel app today. Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Key. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so we can reach more people with encouraging content like you just watched, and so you never miss a beat. See you next time, and God bless.